I'm going to start off by going back to the Management Studio. I'm going to copy everything that we had and just paste that into a new window. And what I need to do is I need to get rid of the schema declaration. And the reason for that is because OpenXML will only work on untyped XML data. And that's okay. So now I'm going to sneak down to the very bottom here. And I'm going to say declare document handle of type integer. Now, the reason that I'm doing that is so that way I actually have the handle. So that way when I say execute, SP XML prepare document, that I can now pass in that document handle. Now that document handle is going to be the placeholder for the integer handle that we're going to get. So I need the keyword out because it's going to be passed back out. And then it needs the XML data, which is going to be our at categories. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to say select star. And in this case, I'm using select star because I'm going to be building up all of the columns inside of my OpenXML. So I'm actually just fine with the select star here. So I'm going to say select star from OpenXML. And inside of OpenXML, again, it wants the handle. So we'll say document handle. It wants the starting path, which in our case is going to be categories, category. And then it's going to want the finder option, which in our case is going to be 1 for right now for attributes. And I just realized I forgot a forward slash at the very beginning, so I'm just going to sneak that in there. And then I'm going to say width. And inside of width is where I'm going to start specifying how we're going to pull the data out. But before we get there, I just want to sneak up to the XML document again here real briefly, just because I want to re-highlight what I've got here. What you're going to notice is we've got categories, and then we've got category, and then we've got the attribute and the name off of there. So that's why down below I used categories and category, because that's the data that I want to go grab. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to specify name, and then let's say varchar, and let's just say 50. And varchar, of course, is a string. And then I'm going to say ID, and that's going to be an integer. So now when I execute this, what I want you to notice is that we've got our two columns of name and ID. And what I want you to notice about name is the fact that it's all null. Now, the reason that it's all null is if I scroll back down again up at the top, remember the finder option. That 1 is going to be attributes. So it's looking for name as an attribute, which is why name didn't work, but ID did work. Now, if I change that number 1 to be a 2, and I re-execute this, what you're going to notice is now the reverse is true. That now our name is going to actually have the right value, and ID is going to be null. And then last but not least, if I change that to a 3, and I re-execute this, now you're going to notice that everything comes out just fine. Now, in our case here, utilizing a 3 is going to be just fine because I don't have that big of an XML document. But if I had a very large XML document, having it look inside of all elements and all attributes is really going to slow things down. In that case, I would want to specify 1 or 2 and then be explicit about the location. And that would also be true if I wanted to change the name. So for example, let's say that I wanted to change the name of ID to be category ID. And just for a little bit of formatting, let me just tab that over as well. And so what I need to do is I need to specify the path. And so my path in this case is going to be at ID. And you'll notice that with the at ID, now it's going to be able to find everything. And that's again because I changed the name. Now, if I change the find option, let's say I change that to be 1 for attributes, and I executed this, you'll notice once again we're back to null. So if I needed to override that, then what I could do is explicitly state name. And now when I execute that, that will all come out. So the ability for us to specify the path allows us to both deal with the default option, if it happened to be different, or B, be able to change the name that's going to be outputted. There's the reverse side of how we can retrieve XML data, and I'll see you in the next lesson.